So head, eyes, nose, ears, tongue, teeth, hair, forehead, eyebrows, eyelashes, cheeks, chin, neck, shoulders, chest, back, arms, hands, palms, fingers, thumb, the wrist, elbow, stomach, hips, legs, thigh, knees. Welcome to Shiksha Sarathi. We started our series in October with the introduction to the NCF 2022 and progressed to understanding the rich Indian heritage of education. Then went on to learning milestones and learning outcomes, moving on to domains of development, firstly discussing the personal, social, emotional domain, and then the first segment of the physical domain. And now, in episode 6, we will talk about language and literacy domain as we get ready to celebrate the Grammar Day during this month. Let us begin with a summary of the key ideas related to the language and literacy in the foundational stage from the National Curriculum Framework. Shiksha Sarathi was started to create a continuous awareness of different aspects of foundational learning. And what better reference than a researched guideline we all need to study and internalize. The document recommends that the medium of instruction be the home language in the foundational stage to the extent possible. Where not possible, measures to be taken to support the child's formal use of home language in teaching learning activities to build bridges from the home language to the school language. This is a very, very important point that will help us to understand that there are guidelines, but there is also flexibility to adapt, keeping the deeper understanding of the needs of the children as a focal point. Children can immerse in multiple oral languages at a very early age because they are capable of absorbing so much. And this can be enhanced through a range of interactive activities, conversations, songs, drama, etc. And the basic aim is to achieve oral language proficiency and reading and writing by grade 3. It's possible that between the home language and the school language or English, if that is the language that you're going to be teaching the children, it may not be the exact same, but they have to be proficient and there has to be an understanding. So we have to change the norm of the mindset that says writing and copying from the board and transcription to listening, speaking and understanding, being able to relate things before reading and writing. The concept of reading and writing is initially developed through exposure to oral language development. That's what is recommended. And then moving them to activities, print materials, and so on. And India is a land of so many languages. So at any given point, even in a classroom, you can have children with more than one home language. So we have to balance it in a very, very sensible manner, and take care of a lot of activities and exposure before we actually take them to reading and writing. And reading is not a natural skill. It has to be nurtured and developed in a systematic approach. So starting with, like we said, activities, moving on to graded reading, shared reading, and so on and so forth, we will talk about more detailing. And for reading, a very, very important part that needs to be introduced is the phonics. So a simple, clear phonic program to be developed, keeping in mind that phonics may be relatively new for many teachers in foundation. We will have to help them to make this shift gently and help them to become conscious that while phonics is needed, much before that you need to have phonemic awareness and phonological awareness activities, which are all verbal, oral activities. So there is so much more to do before taking the children to reading and formal writing. We will try and cover different aspects in our coming episode. But to celebrate the Grammar Day, which falls this month, while we know that grammar comes formally, consequently to basic language readiness, let's start with simple activities that can be introduced informally at the foundational stage of learning And as every language is based on grammar, we actually use parts of speech very informally in our daily active language right from the beginning. So we can use activities to build on active vocabulary bank as the first steps, where different parts of grammar are introduced to correlate our daily things, that to nouns, actions to verbs, positions to prepositions, and descriptions to adjectives. So, celebrating the Grammar Day, let's get ready for our list of activities. So, starting with nouns, a simple activity like I Spy. Use this game to play a simple activity where you say I spy and name a thing in the room for the child to spot. The children can spot them, touch them, or just collect them in a basket and then put them back. Another lovely game to play with the children is a simple memory walk outdoor. Take them out and ask them to spot a certain number of things depending on the age of the child. And when you come back, ask them to recollect it as per the age, between the age groups of 3 to 8. And they can name the things, they can draw the things, or they can write the things, or they can just do all three depending on what they are ready with. Noun, treasure hunt. Place a few things and give the children hints describing the things to look for in form of riddles and spot the collection of things. So time for a few riddles. For example, you can happily keep a spoon, a small book and a slice of bread before you start asking the riddles. I rhyme with moon. You eat with my help. I am a, and the child can say spoon and pick it up. So here the children can fill the related nouns. I rhyme with look. You read me. I am a book. I rhyme with red. Butter is my friend. I am a piece of bread. So if you look around the school or home, it's also interesting that even if you're just looking at the parts of the body that you can actually see, you can build and introduce the first 200 words to the children just like that. So let's go and look at this with full speed. 30 words, just describing the parts of the body, and that is the language you can actually help them to develop in both their mother tongue and in English. So head, eyes, nose, ears, tongue, teeth, hair, forehead, eyebrows, eyelashes, cheeks, chin, neck, shoulders, chest, back, arms, hands, palms, fingers, thumb, the wrist, elbow, stomach, hips, legs, thigh, knees, calf, heels, feet, toes, sole. Just see how quickly and how easily we are able to collect a vocabulary to introduce to the children. The children between the age groups of 6 and 8 can play a paper game of name, place, animal, thing, where they choose a letter between A to Z and write one noun under each heading. It's a collaborative small group game where there is a caller who says start and a thinker who actually is thinking the letters of the alphabet, and on the word stop says the letter aloud, and all the players have to write one name under each category. Now let's go to verbs and action words. So the next step can be the number of actions that we do in our day-to-day activities. And they can be even introduced to simple songs and rhymes like a up and down and round we go. Clap your hands and snap your fingers so. Jump up high, and if you try, higher you can go. Hop a little and skip a little. Now bend and touch your little toe. So something as simple as this, or even the routine song. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Or if you're happy and you know it, snap your fingers. Or if you're happy and you know it, tap your head or tap your feet or fly. And this can become like a really happy game that you can actually introduce the verbs to. The daily routine, little stories like last time we had, when we did our last episodes and we did our last series, we used a character. We used Pan, a little panda puppet, to actually create a concept for everything. So you have a choice, you can create your own puppets. You can have a bear or you can have a monkey or any character which the child is familiar with or your children are familiar with, or a little bird. And you can actually say and play a game like Queen of Sheba. You can just say, Mr. Monkey wants this or Mr. Bear wants this, and so on and so forth. So it just becomes a very simple activity, and then they start associating a character. So the minute Mr. Bear comes, they will know that, oh, this bear is going to make us do an activity. So it becomes like a simple association and a fun activity to do. You can always use ready-made puppets, or even just make small puppets on round sheets of paper and put them around your finger and use it with children. Now, positions, that is the prepositions and outdoor play, you can start with simple activity like making lines, standing one behind the other, running to the left, running to the right, going forward, coming behind, standing under a tree, and creating a simple obstacle course. You could just put chairs, just tie simple rope, let them go under it, use cardboard boxes to go in and out, draw circles. There's just so much that you can do with language and making them understand some basics of grammar. Now coming to the describing words or adjectives, so sort and describe could be one quick activity where the related adjectives can be even the pre-number concepts, like you can give them big and small things to sort out, you can give them long and short things to sort out, thick and thin things, and simple activities like that, even sorting in colors. Just sorting things with different colors. Show and tell, a simple toy time where you ask the children to bring a toy, and they can even begin with a simple sentence about the toy. It could be a pattern in a circle time. The teacher or parent says, I like my red raincoat, and the child can tap the next child and say, what do you like? So the next child has to say, I like my green, whatever they want to say on. So you have a continuous activity where one person says, I like this, and asks the next person, what do you like? And that person says something and taps the next person and says, what do you like? And small things can be described. And what is very important is that you can start with one attribute. Like when you're describing something, it could be just one attribute, and then gradually you can use more descriptive words at the same time. So sometimes when we do these patterns, people argue that what about the children who exceed the learning milestones? Well, they too can begin from simple and go to complex. And as you notice the pace, the instructions in the game or the activities that you can do can become that much more complex. Grammar walls are a great source of reading reference. So as the children grow, the number of words that you actually are introducing to the children can be put up on stick puppets and put onto the walls. And you can also color code the parts of grammar. Like you can have the nouns in one color, you can have the verbs in one color, the adjectives in one color, and the prepositions in another color. So these are the simple activities that you can actually put together and celebrate the Grammar Day and Language and Literacy. And we will meet you in our next episode with a little more detailing about different aspects of communication, reading and writing. So see you there. Namaskar.
Square, square, panda.